Tyler Oliveira, I have seen his few videos before, by the way. His videos are not bad, ain't gonna lie. He goes to many protests and stuff like that. I have watched like 2-3 of them, I think. Got a lot of subscriber, and he do get a lot of views as well, man. W reporting, news guy, kind of, you can say that. But yeah, we're gonna watch his video today. You guys sing the title, Inside the Country That Pays Immigrants 34k to live. Gali, that is a lot of money. Like, which country that can be? So they want deportation, or they want some kind of stuff going on? They want like people to leave?
The country that will pay immigrants $34,000 to go back home.
Skirt.
Why would you even place people to live here? You placed us in one area and then they just...
Wait, they're asking Palestinian people or Muslims to leave?
Put all the bad things on us. We're like the scapegoat.
So Sweden has never been like this blue-eyed, blonde country. The idea of a national state is old.
We have as many bombings per capita as in Mexico.
2 people are dead in a knife attack at an IKEA store in Sweden.
Mohammed, du kommer inte upp här.
Oj.
Han högg mig med en kniv.
He stabbed me with a knife. Okay, that is loco, ain't gonna lie. That is crazy.
Såg ni det?
Oh, I have seen this clip. I remember now. Like, this guy is trying to climb up the ladder, and he, like, the guy who's recording, and he see him's like, you're not getting up here. There's no way you can make up to my Porsche, And there he is standing, and I think so he already stabbed him too as well. Damn. Yeah, he broke into his house. Sheesh. So this was in Sweden. I did not know.
Sweden began to experience a surge in gang violence, drug trafficking, shootings, grenade explosions, gang rapes, and other violent crimes when 163,000 migrants fled to Sweden during the refugee crisis in 2015 from countries like Syria, Afghanistan, and Iraq, leading the Swedish public to wonder if integration was possible and if the benefit...
So huge amount of Muslim community or Muslim people came to Sweden in 2015. Okay.
Benefits of importing third world migrants were worth the diversity and cheap labor they brought, with some Swedish politicians using the rise in crime to argue for less open borders. Others fear it may lead to unjust vilification of many peaceful, productive migrants seeking a better life away from their war-torn country. But does multiculturalism work? Does Sweden want more migrants? Are these migrants trying to assimilate into Swedish society? And what does it mean?
Okay, I ain't gonna lie. If they brought these people in 2015, like, why are they, like, they should have thought about it, like, okay, we are bringing a lot of people, a lot of immigrants, and they will cause some kind of problems, I mean, they all are not from any country, you can say, not even these country which he mentioned or which they came from. Any country, you can say, like, if they came from any other country, India, anywhere, you can say India or Serbia, Russia, whatever. But yeah, any country they came from, of course, not all of them will be good, right? And even these people, I'm sure not all of them are bad immigrants, you can say. So they had to take some kind of accountability about it. Like, okay, yeah, we kind of messed up. So, rather than paying them to leave, they don't have any other option.
To be a Swede in 2024.
What are your thoughts on migration?
I think it's a good thing, because some people, like, people from places like, for example, Ukraine or Palestine, like, they need somewhere to go. We have, like, unfortunately, the government in Sweden is a little bit, like, racist, I think.
Okay.
So,
Are there any
So she meant, like, she's fine with it. Like, if they are coming in, she's fine with it. But government do not want them here,
negatives you've observed or heard of?
Yeah, of course you see all these shootings and stuff like that, but it's what it is.
Sweden is a very interesting place for multiculturalism. I lived here in 2012 and it was very homogenous at that time. I noticed, this is my first time back in 12 years, and I noticed that it's become a little bit more diverse. I'm not sure necessarily how Swedes feel about that diversity.
What specifically do Swedish people gain from the importation of third world migrants?
I mean, I work in the healthcare system, and I have colleagues coming from all over the world. And we need those people. So for the moment, birth rates are going down, and we really need to even out the population pyramid.
I think Sweden has an obligation
Good,
to let people
you know,
from other places in.
Point.
Like, let's say a refugee.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why?
We at least did have the finances. I think that we should be a helpful country. I think it's important to be open, but I also think that we need to be responsible to the people that we are welcoming to this country to make them integrate as good as possibly can be done.
I think the general idea now in this country is that
so till now looks like the people are fine with it.
Too much because we've seen how things can escalate.
The remigration concept, I'm sure you've heard of it.
I don't think that's going to work.
Okay.
To be honest.
Do you think it'll be effective? Will people go home if offered the sufficient amount?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Depends on what country, and I mean it's always
okay, so this is where things get a little more nuanced,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
I've heard that they are enacting some new things. They're trying to with like paying some people to leave. I think they have lots of room and lots of opportunity to spend their money in better ways.
Yeah, rather than on that.
It's already hard with getting like a personal number and things here. So I think there's a lot more that can be done for immigrants coming to Sweden.
Why is diversity good in your opinion?
I think we need skills and competence from other countries. I also think that we do get a lot of benefits from other cultural aspects.
Right.
Food.
What are your thoughts on multiculturalism here in Sweden?
Yeah, it's like a big melting pot.
Does it work well?
Yeah, it works. Yes.
You consider yourself a Swede?
No.
No? Why not?
Different culture. I have different culture.
What does it mean to be Swedish?
In my opinion, Swedish means to be open, to be interested in internationalism.
Okay. Bro, W people, man. Honestly. W people. Like, not a single interview he did, the street interview. No one was negative about it, or no one was like, they should be kicked out. There is no reason for them here, or there is no place for them in Sweden and anything. They all are like, okay, we need them. We need them in any ways, in different ways we need them. But I guess the government is really going down on them that we do not need you. We will pay you to leave. And as one of the person said in the video that they could use that money in some other ways, some better ways, rather than just paying them to kicking them out. Just put that money somewhere else in a good way. Like, people are nice, looks like.
That we should be more welcoming and like
There you
trying
go.
to get them into the society, because now it's more like they get casted out into these like
Yeah, like it's like a group thing, you know, like there are Swedish people and there are other immigrants. So it's like, you know, like they are not together. They are like, it's not like a one thing, you know.
cities outside the city.
All right.
And they get all like bundled up.
Yeah.
The government are like,
It's like
oh
a
my God,
community.
there's criminality going on.
Is there criminality, or is that myth?
It's a big problem. Yeah, but I think it's because these people don't get like integrated into society, so they have to do certain things to like survive and get money because the government doesn't help them. I think.
It was
Good
thousands
point.
of them
Not a
coming,
bad point.
well, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
That
Too
was
much?
Yes, of course. We couldn't take care of them.
Sure. Do you think these people that are coming to Sweden are trying to integrate or not trying to integrate?
Oh, that depends on what culture they come from.
Okay.
Well, you know, in the 80s or 70s, there comes a lot of Indians from Africa. They have integrated very well.
Very well. First of all, where are you from?
I'm from Nigeria. I came to study for a PhD, Department of Economic History and International Relations.
So you've been here for 7 years now?
About 7 years now, yes.
Do you feel
Wow.
Swedish?
Not fully yet. I don't speak good Swedish yet.
Okay.
But the other thing also is that, you know, the Swedish community is not as open as many other communities. The access sometimes is not there. You have friends that you come to maybe meet at workplace or in school and things like that. But I don't think it goes beyond that in most cases. The bond is not usually there like that.
Do you think as an outsider it's tougher to integrate here?
I think so.
What are your thoughts on Immigrants coming to Sweden. Good or bad thing?
I really like it.
Okay.
My wife is from Colombia.
Okay.
Wow.
Multiculturalism has made Sweden a better place compared to what it was like when I was growing.
Bro, you know what? F Swedish government, man. F them. For real. Like, what the hell? All these people are so nice. All these people are so welcoming. And like, why the hell they have to publish this news out there or make people leave? I don't know, man. I hate the stuff like how this government, all this. Yeah, I guess, I don't know, man. For real, like, why they wanna do all this? Like, I get it, they have maybe crime rate and all that gone up, but there's other reason, there are other stuff they can do rather than kicking people out. Like, everybody is open, everybody is nice, everybody is okay with them being there, but government is like, no, you guys gotta leave, and we are paying you to leave. But come on, man, come on. But we might see someone hate, but of course there will be those too. All people won't be biased towards them, you know. But still, like, till now we have seen all of them. Not a single person said like they should be kicked out, all that. But of course there are good people and bad people in all communities, you know, all countries. So when they come in, it's gonna happen. But they should have more jobs, they should do more security, they should do something, you know, like, there are so many other reasons, man, they can do or fix this issue rather than just making them leave, you know.
Up, so I'm all in favor.
Do you think multiculturalism here in Sweden works?
It is a very tough question because it has pros and cons. I have seen so many people that think that multiculturalism is diluting, you know, the Swedish culture. However, what I know as somebody that is a researcher is that culture is not static. Culture is dynamic. There are some things that even in Sweden, that Swedish people used to do 50 years ago, that when people do now, they will consider to be appalling.
Sure.
And this is what it is. Things are always
changing.
Multiculturalism has some advantages in that. For example, somebody like me that came for a PhD, I will consider myself to be an expert, at least in my field. And that is an addition to Sweden. And there are so many that will bring their experiences.
Of course, jobs come, more people come.
At the same time, you have people that constitute nuisance within the system. These sort of people are not limited to the migrant community, because you find very people with misdemeanor, so to speak.
Our lives are so integrated with other countries, so I think small countries especially are really depending on migration. So
is it currently working?
Not as good as I think it can do.
Okay.
It's developed the society, I think, to learn from different cultures. I think we have a lot to thank multicultural for, actually, like the food cultural. It gives job opportunities.
Right.
I love multicultural.
Wow, man.
Yeah, I think it works.
Very nice people, man.
I love diversity. Okay. I mean, the whole Swedish culture is based on immigration and migration from other countries, and
like Canada, you can say.
If I were to move here
It
to
kind of
Sweden,
works
could
like
I
that.
become Swedish?
Yeah, I'd say so.
You think
Yeah.
All right.
But the thing is, that's just because you're American. If you were from another country, or you wouldn't be welcome. But since you're American or highly educated,
What are you talking
no,
about?
that's
No,
So if I came from Somalia, would I be welcomed?
If you were to be Somali, they would put you in like the ghetto. And
They would put me there, or I would move there because
you would move there, and since the financial issue in Sweden, like, it's not very good right now, you would have to learn Swedish, and then the society would look down upon you, or would look down on you.
The marginalization.
Yes.
Makes sense.
No, I agree. I understand where he's coming from, and definitely there is an issue in Sweden that we have to work on.
The gun violence.
I'm happy you're talking about this, because
it's something that needs to be said. It's important to get light on, But it's easy to look at Sweden. Oh, such a beautiful country.
It's very pretty.
It is. I love Sweden, but I mean, you can tell I'm not typical Swedish.
Yeah, I can also tell from the start.
It's about how you grow up.
Can we get a dance before we leave? Can we see you guys? There we go. There we go. The wonders of multiculturalism. So I headed to Rinkeby, the infamous no-go zone, where the 60 Minutes camera crew got attacked and this guy fought back in his wheelchair. With 91% of Rinkeby's population immigrants as of 2018, it's a symbol of the parallel societies in Sweden, where migrants seem to live in an entirely different world than the rest of their Swedish neighbors, and some say it represents the problems that arise when migrants do not properly integrate into Swedish society. But real quick, is it actually dangerous?
It is, yes.
Okay. What's going on there?
You have open drug selling.
So they're going in kind of a hood or something like that, like a bad neighborhood?
Swedish gangs are?
To some extent, yeah.
We can talk to some people out here. Excuse me, question for you. Where are you from? Where are you from?
Oj, jag vet inte. Jag är ny.
You from Sweden?
Nej.
Where are you from?
Oj, jag kan inte.
Country?
Jag kan inte svenska prata.
Okay.
Ja.
Okay, we got it.
What language is that? What language is that? It didn't sound like Arabic. Like, gotta be some other country. But of course you don't know English.
Shop right
That's
here.
Fine.
We're basically in a little Middle Eastern community, it seems like. All right, so rumor has it we're in a no-go zone. Obviously, we've gone. The question is, will we go back home in one piece? Where are they from?
Okay.
Why did they come here? How is life? Let's go find out. How long have you lived in Rinkeby?
For about a year.
Okay. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Syria.
Okay.
But I have lived in Risne, which is very close to here. So, yeah.
Okay, so you're born and raised here in Sweden?
No. I came here in 2015, so...
Oh,
Syria?
she came.
Yeah. So
okay,
how's your experience
from there.
been in Sweden as a Syrian?
Well, it was fine. I grew up here, so it feels like natural being from Sweden.
Yeah.
I was young, so
okay.
I don't really know I didn't have that like tough experience or so. But yeah, it's a nice place.
It's like almost
Before
what?
I moved here, I heard
10 years, you know?
Like the hood, right?
Yeah, exactly. But no, I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
I like Rinkeby,
Because
actually.
they call it a no-go zone. Is that accurate? I mean, we're here, right?
Absolutely not.
No?
I go to the gym like at 10 o'clock at night.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay.
As long as you're not involved in the gangs and so on,
Ah.
you're fine, I would say.
Is this a sort of parallel society, as they call it? Different world within a world sort of thing?
They want it to be like that. Actually,
The Swedes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say they act like no, we want you to be involved
Okay.
and be a part of the society. But why would you even place people to live here? You placed us in one
On the
like,
side.
area, and then they just put all the bad things on us. We're like the scapegoat. Basically, we sell the drugs, they buy them.
Sure.
But if they wouldn't buy, we wouldn't sell.
So let me ask you this. Do people have economic opportunity outside of some of this criminality, like the drug selling, or are young men kind of just like, okay, I guess I'll go sell drugs?
Well, Sweden have a free education. You can become a doctor and you get money from CSN, for example, for studying. I get 4,000 crowns every
going
month.
to become a doctor?
Yeah,
Okay,
every
smart.
month. So it's like $400. You get money to
Paid to
study.
study.
Exactly.
Why are people getting involved in gangs then?
Well, I think that they have a different background. People from like war and things like that.
Sure.
And many kids grow up here with no passion. Schools doesn't have any type of like good education that discipline kids. They don't have
Oh.
that.
Why come to Sweden?
Maybe
if,
that's why it's free?
If the Swedens aren't, let's say, welcoming and
Because well, our countries, people are suffering there. As you see now in
Yeah.
Gaza, people are.
We saw Syria. Was it Syria? Yeah, it was Syria. Syria video. I mean, this video which we are watching right now is really old, few months old, maybe 4 or 5 months old, from 2024. But I did watch a video like from like 1 month ago old, which where this traveler goes out, which his name is Bald and Bankrupt. You can check that video out. I watched that together. But yeah, he went to Syria as their president is gone to Moscow, and yeah, it's all gone bad, man. That country has gone so down. But yeah,
They're dying, basically.
that makes sense. I guess my question is why Sweden specifically and not maybe a neighboring like UAE or a Middle Eastern country?
I would say because UAE and so on, they didn't open doors.
Okay.
Actually, they are Muslim countries and they are our people somehow, but they didn't open their doors. It was Sweden and Germany.
Where are you from originally?
I am from Palestine.
Palestine.
Nice.
Okay. How do you like Sweden?
Yeah.
Good. Are they welcoming to refugees?
Yeah. I am drive bus.
You drive bus?
Okay.
And you've been here for how long?
20 years.
20 years.
Wow.
Do you plan on staying in Sweden forever?
No, not now. Not this. Not because the new politique. This is a.
The new politics are bad?
This is different.
How so? Bad?
Yeah.
In what ways?
Everything.
How so?
Economy.
Immigration?
Yeah.
How they treat you?
Not for me. I have Medborg. I have
Okay,
pass.
so you're in.
I'm from Sweden, Serbia, and Peru.
Okay, are you born and raised here in Sweden?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Rinkeby?
My thoughts in that sense, I don't know. It's a beautiful place in some senses, but I think every place has its problems.
What are some of the good things about this place? What are some of the bad things?
I would say like it's very common for people to really get to know each other. It's very family. Like we normally accept people from other places. I think many people have bad thoughts about this place. Yes, because it's a place where maybe it's very mixed with the cultures. And I think people normally have the tendency to really give this place a shot, like a really good chance. And I think if people would do that, it would get along with people living here. I think people already have racist thoughts about this place.
I think that we are involved in the society. Many Syrians educate and go to universities and so on. So I'm not saying that the immigrants is very like not doing bad things.
Sure.
They are.
They are, but
Maybe
not
they are,
all,
like,
you know.
following the rules and so on. But the government could do better.
What's one change you'd like to see in the government?
Don't spread propaganda on social media about us immigrants being the people who kill.
Yeah, that's
and
the
so
biggest
on.
problem.
Because when it's a Swedish man who like commits a rape, they said a man. When it's a black man, they would put his name or something
and
that
culture
shows
or
you
his
that
country.
he's not from Sweden. But I don't think that
Foreigner
we are
born,
committing more crimes than Swedes because they do commit crimes, but the media doesn't show.
Why are there so many shootings here?
Gang crimes.
Yeah. Why do people, from your understanding or speculation, get involved in gangs out here?
I would say the main reason maybe you cannot pay your bills. I don't think
Yeah, main reason
everyone
is
chooses
money.
to do these things.
And also,
I'd be like, go on down the road, you fuck.
if you want to support our a lot of heterogeneous cultures here, we got kokab, East African products, Thai, sushi.
Oh, I want some of that food, man. I want some of that food. I'm craving that type of food, bruh.
Could be. And here we are. This is what the famous spot where the wheelchair guy drove into
Oh,
the
yeah.
attack
Oh, it was on
mic
60
operator.
Minutes
So we're
channel.
noticing, just do a pan, you know. Every walk of life we're seeing. So we got a cool ethnic market here. We got Palestine cola.
Wow,
Truly a
nice.
melting pot we're witnessing. This reminds me of New York in a lot of ways. And last but not least, the Islamic Cultural Center. We're in front of the police station of Rinkeby. Can you tell me some of the problems and difficulties they face building this place?
Yeah, so when they started building this place a couple of years ago, the construction workers got attacked, and they had a really hard time also getting the stuff here because of like roadblocks and stuff. So
Who were they getting attacked by?
like local gangs and gang members.
That didn't want a police station right in the heart of Rinkeby?
Yeah.
For obvious reasons?
Yeah, for obvious reasons, you know. At some point, you perhaps also could understand that from a criminal point of view, you know, having a police station like this, also quite big, you could understand that, of course. On this building, you have like fireproof walls from the outside as well, to not like be able to throw Molotov cocktails and stuff.
Fireproof, bulletproof, drive-proof.
Wow.
Yeah. Why?
Because we are in Rinkeby and
this is a fortress we're looking
Crazy neighborhood, huh?
So what they also do is they escort police from here and to work. So for example, if you're a local policeman here and you arrest someone here at the center, then you go back here, change uniform, and walk to the subway station
with police guards.
Yeah, exactly.
The police themselves are afraid of getting attacked after they do their job and arrest people here.
Yeah, and that's why.
Wait, what? I have never heard about stuff like that, dude. What? This is crazy. This is some next level stuff, man. Even police, even security need a security, bruh. Even police need a police. Nah, that's messed up. Too much.
But I wanted to hear from an immigrant who moved to Sweden when she was 20 and became the first black police officer in Sweden. Is integration possible? And why are so many migrant youth turning to a life of crime? And we're in a big police compound. This place is fortified. Why is that?
I mean, it starts with for maybe 10 years ago, we have community policing and we have small stations. And then one day someone threw a hand grenade on the building, and the politician decided that we should build a huge police station that will be in Rinkeby. I became police officer 2006, right? So between 2006 to 2015, or 14, everything was cool here.
Sure.
You have more like small crimes like.
Oh, so she's kind of referring to the immigrants coming in, because in 2015 immigrants came, and then she's like, oh, after that it came too much, or it got worse, which is obvious. More people are coming in. I mean, I don't know how many people the immigrants came, but of course, more people come, more crime rate will go up. Not a lot, but a little bit for sure, you know.
I don't know, burglary and theft, those small things. After 2015, then we start the gang violence in Sweden, and then we have certain group who start to build kind of gang, what they call themselves. Sure. We are having shooting before in Södertälje, where we have immigrants from Middle East, but Christian immigrants from Middle East, who also build their own, kind of gang. It's more like mafia. I mean,
like a group
burning
thing.
cars, like
oh damn,
shooting, throwing stone on the police officers. But now, from 2021 up to now, everything's quiet here because we were not like sitting down and watching them.
Action.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Start from 2015.
Okay.
Yeah.
During the refugee crisis?
Yeah, that's most of the people say that it's because of the refugees, but I can say because most of the people who are in the gang violence, most of them born here in Sweden.
Okay.
And they came to Sweden for many years ago. They are not like the new migrant.
So these are second-gen children of immigrants?
Of course. Yeah. Those youth, they have to feel that they're part of this society. They are Swedish too. You cannot give a person identity at the same time making the person feeling that you're not a part of this society because you look different. In living in an area when most of them are immigrants, how can you be a part of the society if you don't know the rules, you don't know the culture, you're not learning anything?
If I were a kid and if I were to throw a grenade into this room, for instance, what could you do as a police officer? And then how would the court system take me in as, let's say, a 13-year-old?
I'm a 13-year-old. I mean, nothing going to happen.
Nothing would happen?
No.
You would take me into custody and
we don't want to take you to custody. We'll take you and the social will take over the whole investigation.
Too young,
Young man in a kind of, how do you call it, HBV, OSIS is a kind of, it's not really jail, but it's more like a place where they get educated. Or
even if I were to throw a grenade at a police officer,
that's the system in Sweden. I say that.
I mean, system is broken,
They have to learn. If you throw a hand grenade, you can get 10 years old. If they caught you with the arm, a gun, 10 years old. If you sit down there, you're gonna start to think. At the same time, the government have to prepare. But what's happening in Sweden is like they throw you in the prison, and then after when you get out, you don't have anything to go. Where do you go? You go back to your friends.
Sure, and then you throw another hand grenade or shoot someone else.
Or because your parents are from another country, you have to learn Swedish too. Why Swedish too? Why don't I study Swedish as my Swedish?
Okay. Swedish is taking these young children who are born here to learn Swedish as their second language.
Exactly.
And they're born in Sweden.
Yes.
But they're never gonna truly feel Swedish.
Exactly. They try to do that with me. My
that's
father
crazy,
came to the school,
man.
Say, hey, what?
Can, let's say an immigrant is coming here to Sweden right now. Can they become Swedish? Can they integrate into society?
They can if you make it easy for them, give them the tools, make it easy for them, let the parents to be parents. They have to also to tell us, immigrants coming here, okay, if you come to my country, this is the law. No one is telling you. Everyone is going to the suburb. How do we know about what we have to do? You have to tell me. This is the law. We want you to follow it. Now they are saying that. Even they're still saying that, but they are not telling what to do either. They have to be proud themselves about their own culture before they can introduce that culture to me. If they don't know about the culture themselves, how can they introduce the culture to me as a foreigner? They have to know who they are first before they tell us who we are.
Or who they want you to be.
Who they want us to be. As the Swedish, what's the Swedish culture? They will say,
openness,
stand in a queue. You go to, that's not the culture. They can't define their own culture.
The segregation in this country is what you're seeing.
Very valid points from that lady.
Like this.
Police officer.
Just visiting central Stockholm the other day, and there you saw a whole other picture.
Totally different.
Totally different.
This is entirely Middle Eastern and African people in Sweden.
Yeah.
Because you guys let them in and you guys welcome them.
Yeah, we had the prime ministers talking on national television to open our hearts and to be accepting.
Sure. So, and you did.
Yeah, for almost 40 years, perhaps.
And now you're paying some of these people 34,000 USD to go back? Is that the idea?
Yeah, the current government has imposed like an amount of money to return back. It got quite big in Sweden with multiple headlines of a full plane going back to Iraq.
After hearing from Risa, I met up with Marcus, the chairman of the Conservative Student Union at University of Stockholm, Bilan Osman, a Muslim activist, journalist, and second-gen Somalian immigrant, and Arvi, a spokesman from a conservative think tank Oikos, to see if they too thought it was the government's fault that migrant youth are struggling to integrate.
Sweden has always had
Bilan
minorities.
Osman.
Sweden portray itself as a, how do you say it, like homogeneous country, whereas everyone is like white and blonde and so on. But there has been minorities in Sweden for like centuries. So Sweden has never been like this blue-eyed blonde country. But in like the 1930s we had a lot of migration, mainly because of war. The last decades because of the wars. But in the beginning of the 90s Sweden became a kind of racist country. We funded the Race Biology Institute where you measured people's heads and even sterilized minorities.
Are the people themselves trying to integrate themselves into society? Where's the disconnect?
Yeah, well, of course, a lot of them actually are integrating society.
Yeah.
That would be
That's
righteous
good.
to say. But and the government is trying, but they have for a long time tried to just throw money at these places. But for some reason, they are not being able to integrate anyways.
Why is that?
Yeah, I don't think they want to integrate. I think that's the answer. They came to Sweden for the economical incentives. They didn't come here to become Swedes. So I think a lot of people, their own background.
So what I kind of get is they just came here to, of course, just live their lives in a better way than they were living in their own countries where wars and stuff are going on, you know. So, but they don't really wanna be Swedish, you know. They don't wanna be like really learn the Swedish culture, really learn the Swedish language, you know, all that stuff. They just wanna go on with their lives, but of course, which will be better than their old times, or better than their home country, you can say. So they just want to go on with their lives, do their stuff, get a job and get along, and, you know, make some money and, you know, have a good family. That's it. They don't want to be too much like really Swedish. Like, I get it. I get that from the point
they want
till
to
now.
keep that as well. For example, something obvious these days, that we cannot take in infinite of number of new people from a different culture, right? You have to have this integration, assimilation process. That was highly controversial in Sweden for like 15 years ago. So we're having this political thinking, which is not controversial at all, really, in the parliament already through the Swedish Democrats and stuff. And they're not far-right, alt-right people at all. Everyone is concerned about the criminality that's coming up through second and first generation migrants. So everyone is very concerned. And
well, in a way, we're trying to rediscover what Swedish conservatism is. One can say, at least, that what has really rejuvenated Swedish conservatism, the impulse which has made it relevant again, is an opposition to uncontrolled immigration, which has been the dominant political issue in Sweden
Uncontrolled.
now, at least 15 years. There are many different kinds of negative effects of uncontrolled third world mass immigration. One obvious is crime. Today we have gangsterism in Sweden, like interwar Chicago. We have as many bombings per capita as in Mexico. So, and Sweden used to be a very safe country.
There's a bunch of studies about this. If you're named
Mohammed, let's say.
Yeah, Fatima or Mohammed, then
You're gonna have a lot of problems now. So they are having that same kind of problem which they had also when Osama bin Laden was alive. If your name was Osama at that time, you would have some kind of problem at the airports and, you know, those official kind of places, buildings like that. Or you want to go for make a passport and name and stuff, you're gonna get in some kind of more security check and all that blah blah. So I guess same thing kind of it is kind of racism, you know, going on here, that if your name is Fatima, which is a female name, and if your name is Muhammad, many Muslim people first names are Muhammad, and they're gonna have different kind of, they're gonna have different rules will apply to them than normal Swedish people or normal people whose name are not that, or they're not Muslim, you can say.
You have a lesser chance to get a job.
See, I mean, where do you want these people to go then? What do you want these people to do then, other than gang violence and all that, man?
Buy
or
a
sell
house.
drugs.
But that doesn't mean that because your name is Fatima Mohammed, your life will suck. But there's been a lot of studies when it comes to the racist culture in Sweden. We have a tendency to not acknowledge that racism exists in Sweden because of, you said that Sweden has always been welcoming toward refugees, and that's kind of true in some sense. I think that has also been like an excuse to not acknowledge the racist society that we live in.
The Swedish media was that if you opposed immigration on any ground, that means you're a racist. Even if you said that there might be some potential downside, you're a racist. Swedish public debate is like a school of fish, right?
Yeah.
So everyone changes position at the same time. So now everyone is kind of opposed to this. But up until 2015, this was, and that's why the Sweden Democrats grew so much. They had a monopoly on saying that immigration could possibly be a bad thing. Now you have like 5 parties who say that bad or, not too good. So there's far more competition in that way. I saw some data from The Economist today. This was not from Sweden, it was from Denmark, but should be pretty much the same. Where they had looked at the
Denmark says non-Western immigrant costed 31 billion kroners. I guess that's their currency.
Immigration from different parts of the world. But the average effect from an immigrant from the Middle East and North Africa was that they were a fiscal burden throughout their life. Even, and this is important, even in their prime working age.
Do you think migrants from Muslim countries are integrating well into Sweden? And is Sweden helping them integrate into Sweden?
I'm kind of allergic to the integration.
Tell me why.
The only way to adapt to a society is that you get the chance to have a job, to have good education. That for me is like integration. But in the Swedish society, we are more talking about assimilation, that people that are coming to Sweden has to change the way they are. And that's problematic. People don't have to have one identity. They can have multiple. Like a couple days ago, it was a debate in Sweden between the party leaders, and the leader for the Christ Democrats said that Islam doesn't always adapt to Swedish values. What does that mean? I'm a Swedish Muslim. In which way is there a conflict between Islam and Sweden? That's a false narrative, and that's the problem with the society.
Do you think some of the laws or precepts in the Quran and the precepts of Islam conflict with Swedish society and Swedish law?
First of all, if you look at the world population, 1/4 is Muslims. The way someone see Islam in Afghanistan or in Somalia or in Iran or in Sweden is obviously different. We have lots of different interpretations of what Islam is. I don't believe in the concept that Islam is one thing that has a conflict with Western values.
So Swedes have, I think, a much harder way grappling with and understanding Islam than people would have in the US or in Poland, where people actually still believe in God. For Swedes, Islam is just some superficial thing. It's like, they don't drink alcohol, but maybe there are Swedes who don't drink alcohol either. The fact that people would actually care deeply about religion is an alien idea to many Swedes. People didn't imagine at all that we would have a large number of mosques in Sweden, or maybe it would be a temporary thing because Muslims should stop being Muslims, because why would they be Muslims?
So the expectation was these Muslim migrants would leave their religion behind and become truly
Swedish.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Okay. So for example, we have a big issue in Sweden with rapes, sexual assaults, and they're coming from first-generation migrants. But we also have having a big issue with gang criminals, which is completely unique for Sweden. We haven't had that before, and that is a result of the second generation of migrants not integrating in Swedish society.
So why do you think second generation non-ethnically Swedish youth are becoming members of gangs and committing crimes disproportionately?
There's individual factors when it comes to mental health, or that many of them have ADHD or have had trouble in school. That doesn't mean that everyone that come from like a single household or from a poor environment or have ADHD will go into gang violence. But we have a huge problem.
I think it's, so for example, they are growing up in an environment which is not, there are no incentives to get involved in the majority society, and they're living in these clusters with people from their own culture, right? So they feel not feeling that they are belonging to the Swedish society. Therefore, they are having a growing resentment to the Swedish culture.
Why is one specific group acting disproportionately in a certain manner?
So that's why the question in itself doesn't help. So if we're talking about how can social services be better in having contact with the schools that young children are, that's a solution.
Okay.
Or how can the law enforcement, how can they have a better communication with social services and schools?
Okay.
That's a solution. We have already 100 years ago agreed as an international community that there are not different races. You are not born with some kind of qualities that is in line with your skin color or your religion and so on. We don't have any most impact when it comes to gang violence. It's that non-white people in the suburban places where those kind of shootings are going on, they are the biggest victims.
So they're killing each other?
It's not killing each other. It's like
who's killing them?
Criminals that are attacking people in our society.
Who are these criminals predominantly?
I don't know. I don't have any kind of statistics to say that.
Gangs. These are, I wouldn't say 100% immigrants or the children of immigrants, but maybe 95, 99, 98%, something like that. Now, this doesn't mean that indigenous Swedes never commit any crimes at all. They certainly do. Many crimes, especially violent crime, sexual crime, there is a very strong overrepresentation among certain immigrant groups. I would say that people who commit less crimes are, for example, Vietnamese immigrants, Southeast Asian ones, Thai, certainly Japanese, Chinese, while you have very strong overrepresentation when we're talking about groups from Middle East, North Africa, 25 years. We've
So
had
he
about
got
2 million
that
immigrants.
list,
come to
like,
Sweden. If
these
these had been 2 million
don't do much crime and these
we
do.
wouldn't have this discussion today.
Do you think Sweden has an obligation to help refugees?
Sweden actually has that because after the Second World War, a lot of countries decided to adapt to the United Nations Declaration on Human Rights. And one of those human rights is that every person and every human being has a value, and every human being has the right to seek asylum,
refuge.
and nothing has changed. But the only thing that has changed in Europe is that we are heading to more and more fascist and nationalists kind of politics in Europe.
But the question is, why do they go through 15 countries to come to Sweden?
That's my question. Yeah.
Exactly. So
or both.
I think
The other countries are not open
to come here to Sweden, obviously, but they can do
other countries are. They don't have their borders open for immigrants. Of course they cannot enter that, and then Sweden have it open. Sweden is ready to take immigrants in, and they of course then they will come here. What do you want? What do you mean by that?
Well.
This idea from the 60s, right? We should have a lot of foreign aid. We should care about the third world, but we should care about Nicaragua, and we should care about Somalia, and we should care, all these countries far away.
Why?
Well, because that was virtuous. They used to say that Sweden is a humanitarian superpower, and there was this idea that Sweden after World War II, Sweden together with Switzerland and the US, Sweden was the richest country in the world, and we have this idea, this feeling that we're actually better than other people. We're rich, we're the best, we have the most progressive, most modern society, we're the model for the world. The fact that we were rich because we had stayed
But
out
now they are not,
and didn't have our industries bombed into dust and could profit from rebuilding all the rest of Europe, people didn't want to think about that part. But this meant that we were the best and most virtuous people in the world, the model for the world. Everyone should be like us. We got this idea that Swedishness is not a particular culture. It's not having a common history, a specific language, or anything like that. No, it means being modern. And Sweden was the most modern country in the world. And if you immigrate to Sweden from another country, as soon as you pass the border, you cross the border, you become Swedish, right?
The idea of a national state is old. The national state and the idea doesn't work anymore. Of course, Sweden is multicultural. Sweden works. I don't see any bombs.
No, you're right.
Of course, multicultural is the only way that the world works. People that are nationalists, I think that they are more like nostalgic. That are nationalists.
I have seen this guy video too. He also visited him. Where did he go? Was it Ukraine? Where was it? I don't know. He went somewhere to meet this guy as well. And this guy is a crazy guy too. He's also fighting for... He also don't want Muslims. Yeah, he was really anti-Muslim, I think so. And he was saying that he do not want country to bring in more Muslims or bring in more immigrants illegally he was fighting for, yes, and which was true, like what he was fighting for was right, I think so, because if you want to go into some country, you should go legally, with all the paperwork, and of course they will welcome you, but yeah, I just wanted to mention that out.
I think that they are more like nostalgic and thinking about the time that doesn't exist and haven't existed in a long time.
Their premise people are thinking on that everyone wants to become Swedes, right? And when Swedish people meet other people from different cultures, they realize that they don't want the influence except for food or whatever. It's a joke in Sweden. So Swedish people don't want that at all. And not even the one who actually believes that they want to either. They are living on Södermalm here south of Stockholm, where everyone is Swedes already, hanging out with their Swedish friends, going to Swedish bars.
Are you seeing like Swedish white flight moving out of neighborhoods that are being flooded with new migrants? Is that what's happening?
We have Swedish white flight areas in Sweden. Yeah, definitely.
If I moved here, would you consider me a Swede after a few years of integration?
No, you are not a Swede.
Okay.
But that's also all right. You don't have to be a Swede, right? It's not mandatory to be a Swede.
Someone would get offended by you saying that, is my guess.
So, yeah, maybe, but I don't care.
What are your hopes for Sweden in the next 20 years?
I want it to be more of the Sweden that I love. Sometimes I miss my own home country.
That is Sweden?
Yeah, okay. Like I have felt like, especially the last 20 years, I would say, we have had an increase when it comes to hate crimes, when it comes to the impact that the right-wing movement has had. I want it to be the democratic country that I know Sweden is, and there's a whole anti-racist movement here. There are a lot of anti-fascists, and this is my comrades, and I will keep on hoping that we will win.
There's an American saying, if you find yourself in a hole, first thing you do is stop digging, right? The current right-wing government is very anti-immigration, right? The main force of the Swedish left, the Social Democrats, they're moving in that direction as well. And they're surrounded by a large native population. They will be absorbed somehow in it. But if the immigrants become too many, then they might very well stay unassimilated in their own communities.
They're the majority.
Yeah, in certain areas, in certain communities, they're definitely the majority, especially because of segregation. There is one important thing, and that is the changes we see in Swedish politics today. They are the biggest changes in Swedish politics for a century. The biggest changes in our political structure since Sweden became a full democracy.
I'm quite optimistic for the future in Sweden, but it will take a long time.
Okay.
You have to come back in 10, 15 years and ask me again.
And is remigration a part of this solution, in your opinion?
Yeah, it will be. Yeah. Firstly, this with economical incentives, but then will be forced also. I'm pretty sure about that.
When I talk to foreign conservative friends about the changes in Sweden, they often believe this, because it's one thing when you have the right ruling in Poland or in the US or in Slovenia.
Sure.
It's something else entirely when Sweden, the supposed progressive socialist paradise, turns to the right or even the hard right. Then people really say, wait, what's going on? Is Sweden perhaps the canary in the coal mine?
As the world continues to globalize and wealthy nations import third world migrants for cheap labor to support their lowering birth rates, and in the name of kindness and diversity, we should be asking ourselves, what is a society and culture willing to sacrifice of itself to accommodate those it welcomes? Is a kebab stand in every street corner worth sacrificing a country's entire culture? What do you think?
People are nice. Not a single person we saw, or not a single person, or not a single interview he did today were really, really negative. Of course, they had some points about, okay, I mean, there's a bad thing and there's a good thing, but we are not saying that leave right now, leave, you know. You cannot stay any second in Swedish. But of course he also showed a clips of people protesting in Sweden for these people to leave, and they want people to leave. They got those banners, or you know, stop immigration and all that stuff like that. But yeah, I think so this government, they got some maybe new government, and that government is really different than the government they had in 2015, you can say. So you know, of course, new government, different changes, new rules and stuff like that. And yeah, I guess this government is not that friendly with immigrants. And yeah, so immigrants got this one community and Swedish got this one community, and it's really crazy, not gonna lie. A lot of stuff like is happening because different cultures, more people. The Swedish, some people are saying, okay, you should become Swedish or become like us or have some kind of Swedish culture, learn Swedish language. But these people are also like the who are immigrants, they wanna be stay inside their community, you can say, you know, like you can say Muslim community or any kind of, you know, they I'm sure they all are not Muslims, the immigrants, but most of them I'm sure. So they just want to stay in that community and have their own shops and stuff like that, and you know, stuff like that. But still those people are welcoming them, but these want to stay here, but some also don't want to welcome them, and these also want to go there. They have many jobs problems as well, which is making these people, these immigrants, to go into gang or to do a lot of this violence. And I mean, yeah, that's true. I never heard about Swedish to be this crazy or this dangerous, you know. But after watching this video, I don't know, man, it looks kind of crazy, not gonna lie. The way they were explaining the police station stuff, like how they got full-on bomb-proof, bulletproof police station, and even police officer needs a police officer to protect them, you know. Like, it's that crazy. Like, once you are done with your job, you really need to be really careful still, even after you have finished your job. You are in normal clothes, you know, you're not in a uniform, still you need to be safe, you know. But yeah, it's getting crazy out there. I hope they stop all this propaganda, especially online, about being, you know, really claiming or saying these people, or like when someone do something, or this was from this country or Sweden or anywhere, Palestine, you know, this country, this person did this. But when they are Swedish, they are like, okay, a man in Swedish, you know, like, or a man, just person, you know, or one person did this. But yeah, I mean, I feel like this is, government is just too much, but people are nice, which according to video, people looked really nice, really welcoming, but government really need to do better. But yeah, overall, but W it's really cool that he went all the way to Sweden to do this interview, you know, really cool.